In this video, I'm just going to explain some of the more unusual aspects of the program and some of the things that it does that are not clearly visible. The first thing is the alerts. Now, I've mentioned alerts a number of times in previous videos. If you select alerts to be on and then just process selection and go to the results sheet, the one and only alert that you'll see is what's called a distance alert. The distance is basically a calculation of the distance from low price properties to high price properties. And as you can see on the screen, in this particular case, the program has found a property that's priced between mid and low, and it's 139 metres from a property which is in a much higher price range. The difference with this particular alert is that if you add the alert to your favorites and processed favorites, then you get an additional alert, and that alert is what's called a listing alert, so that every time you run the program and run favorites, it will list all of the properties that have been listed since the last time you ran the program or ran favorites in particular. And as you can see in this case, I've got the distance alert, as well as I'm being told that there are 3 new listings since the last time I ran my favorites. Now this helps to eliminate the amount of work you need to do in order to just identify the new ones that you need to look at when you're examining the properties that are listed for sale in one of the suburbs that you're analysing. The main difference in this particular instance is that these alerts are available through websites like realestate.com and Domain, but the way they process alerts is relatively simple. They process their alerts overnight and they send you an email that you get the next day. What I would recommend that you do is to set up the alerts in your favorites and then process the favorites at about 4:30 in the afternoon. You'll get any new listings that day, and you'll still have time to contact the real estate agents well before anybody else gets alert on the same property. The next point is about unusual location names. What we find is that some locations, like the major capital cities, for example, Brisbane, is obviously a name that reflects a wider geographical area than just the city. There are a number of country towns, and the list is on the screen: Darwin, Palmerston, Bundaberg, Cairns, and a number of others, that also are the names of wider geographical areas other than just the city location. When you search these locations through realestate.com or Domain, you'll find that it will prompt you to select, in some cases, Brisbane City, in other cases, Bundaberg Central. So it actually looks for properties in the correct location. So when you run the grid variance program and you select a location, let's say for example Bundaberg, you select Bundaberg, the program will automatically search for Bundaberg Central and not for Bundaberg. This is not an issue you need to be concerned about. Just be aware that when you enter these locations, the program will automatically change the name and look for the correct address. The next issue is one of properties that are advertised incorrectly. There's a list of locations on your address, and these are on the screen rather, and these are the main offenders. These locations and real estate agents in these locations will generally advertise properties as being in this location rather than in a surrounding suburb. For example, in Tamworth, at the day that I created this video, there were 120 properties advertised as being in Tamworth, but actually only 15 were in Tamworth itself. All of the others, the other 105 locations, were all in the surrounding suburbs. South Tamworth, for example, if you did an analysis on South Tamworth, you would find that there are 6 properties advertised as South Tamworth, but 21 properties that are actually in South Tamworth have been advertised as Tamworth. Once again, this is not an issue that you need to be concerned about. If you selected a suburb like Tamworth and processed the Tamworth location, the program will check every address that's advertised to make sure that it actually exists in Tamworth, and if it doesn't, it will bypass it. So an analysis of the suburb of Tamworth will bypass 105 properties and list just the 15, and analyse the 15 that are actually in that location, and that applies to all of the locations you see on your screen. By the same token, if you were to process South Tamworth, it would initially look for properties that are advertised as South Tamworth. It would find 6, and then automatically it would search all of the properties that are advertised as Tamworth and extract the ones that are actually physically in South Tamworth and include them in the analysis. There is only one other odd issue to be considered. Locations like Hervey Bay, for example, don't actually exist. Many people refer to what is a wider geographical area that they know as Hervey Bay, but it doesn't actually exist as a location. It's a combination of a number of suburbs that are on Hervey Bay. Now, it's a bay. There are no houses in the bay, obviously. It's a body of water. There are a number of locations in Australia that are the same. You just need to realise that in some cases there are locations that don't physically exist. For the moment, this is the last in the series of video tutorials. I hope you've enjoyed them and haven't been bored by them. Good luck with